That's it. Is there any way to find out someone? Why we do not know? Why we just do the outside thing? Why don't have the any other way?
We have limitation, Prabhu, with our eyes. We can only see to a certain.
Okay.
We can only see through eyes.
Okay.
So we are
What
born
else?
with limitations.
What else?
No, we don't think beyond the body,
Very nice.
and yeah, the body and the sense objects. That is the
Yes.
nature of any normal human being attached to material world.
And what is the reason behind it?
Because people,
Because
people don't understand the complete, they don't know the purpose of life, first of all. And they don't break down the things as we are seeing in chapter 2 to basically understand what are the characteristics of his. First of all, what is a soul and what are the characteristics of soul? Which
so
we
the
have.
reason why we are not able to identify others is because we don't identify our own self. That is the reason.
And Prabhu, Maya is very strong, like pretty attractive and strong.
We are more attached to the material world.
Forget about everything else.
We are
Just think that do we know our own selves? That is the question we should ask. Forget about everyone, Maya, external. बहुत बड़ी बड़ी बात करते हैं हम लोग. लेकिन बाहर को देखने से पहले खुद पता है हम कौन है. That is the biggest problem. That is exactly what the problem is. We don't try to understand our own selves. So we are covered by many things. So that's why Krishna is explaining Arjun first thing that first you try to understand that you are a soul. If you don't understand that you are a soul, it will be very hard for you to identify yourself and others. And imagine if we are able to identify our own selves, how easy will it be to see the world in that way?
Yeah.
And how good it will be to see the world. The problem is we do not know what we are. That is the biggest problem. And if we do not know what we are there in this outside world to make judgment about others, to pass conclusions about others, do all these things. The first thing Bhagavad Gita tells us, Krishna tells us, is that identify your own self. Who are you? It's a very difficult thing to do. It's a process. It is not that overnight we will be able to come to know. And then slowly he explains him about the soul. It's not no one else. So once Srila Prabhupada was speaking, that I am not this body, I am a soul. In Africa, he was talking about it. And there were a lot of people sitting in front of him. They were thinking that Swamiji is a soul, they are all bodies. It's not like that. Everyone is a soul. Even we ourselves are souls. So instead of others, talking about others, we should talk about our own self. Find out our own self, what we are. If we understand what we are, then we understand others. Then this material world. Then the spiritual world. These all things are only possible to talk about if we understand our own self. This chapter 2 is about self-discovery. Try to see your own self in this chapter 2. If you can't see your own self in this chapter 2, you will not be able to understand chapter 2. First thing, don't hear it like a story. Do not read it like a text or a prose or a poetry. Do not see as an outside person, as an audience to Arjun and Krishna, that they both are talking, I'm listening. No. Put yourself in the shoes of Arjun and understand that what is Krishna telling you. If you can understand that slightly, then you can understand this chapter 2. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand this further. So we have to understand first that we are soul. I am a soul. Now, how do we go further in that? That then what next? If that is understood, what next? Then Krishna says after 2.30, he says that Swadharma, you have to do your dharma as a nature. Whatever nature you have, based on that, you do your dharma. So there is a comfort, and then there is a competence, what is given to us. Do you know what it is? Have you heard about these two words? So there is a comfort zone we are into. There is competence, our skills. Based on that, we work. Comfort. Suppose you are given a work and you like doing that work. You straight away jump onto that work and do it nicely and take the credit. ये मैंने कर ली. You are very happy when that kind of work comes to you. Whatever you do, in that you have a comfort zone. उससे normally हम लोग को निकलना नहीं होता. Okay. Anything out of that comfort zone is given to us, it's painful. Okay. Next thing is competence. Do you have the skills to do the work which is out of your comfort zone? Yes, if you can, then you will take it as a challenge. But it is not in your competence, then it's painful. This is the two ways we function: comfort and competence. So see what is based on that, our work is done. And that derives our nature, comfort and competence. So based on that, you work. So you should work for as your dharma. As your duty, you should do your work. Your work should not be a burden, but it should be a duty. That's the attitude, the perception. If you carry, only then you will be able to enjoy the results of that. That is called karma kanda or sakama karma yoga. That's a concept from 31 to almost 50. It continues on that sakama karma yoga. Yeah. And then in the middle, Krishna introduces something called as what?
Nishkam karma.
Yes, Nishkama Karma Yoga he introduces, but he introduced something in the middle while going in transition from Sakam to Nishkama Karma Yoga. What did he introduce? Where was the turning point where he introduces something? He asks us to introduce something in our life.
Oh, okay. Vyavasayatmika buddhi.
Correct. Perfect. Very nice. So he tells us to introduce bhakti in our life, spiritual activity in our life, just as you plan your other activities, other material activity. Yeah. Atmanya, no. What does he say? Vyavasaya Atmika Buddhi.
Buddhir ekeha kuru nandana bahushakha ye anantascha buddhayo vyavasaya dinam.
So he says that introduce bhakti in your life. When you introduce bhakti, then you realize over a period of time that this bhakti is what is free from reactions. Other work that you do carries reaction. That's why Krishna further explains, Arjun, yeah, that slowly you should try and work as a duty, and you should not focus on the results. Karmanyavadhikaraste mahaphaleshu kadachana. So he explains in that way you will be away from
Reactions.
the reactions of the work. Very nice. So that is in 2.49. Dure na yavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddho sharanam anvichya kripanaha phala hetavaha. And why do we find pain in this life? It is because of the reaction of our work. That's why there is pain. Pain that we get in our life the unpleasant feelings that we get or the unpleasant experience that we get in life is the reaction of our work. So if you want to remain away from those reactions, then do your work as a duty and stay away from the results. What do you do with the results is that is called buddhi. How do you do your work? By engaging in devotional service rather than thinking that it is my work which will give me fruits. That's how you transit from karma kanda or sakama karma yoga to nishkama karma yoga. What is the difference between nishkama karma yoga and bhakti? Yes. Anyone?
Prabhu, Nishkam Karam is when we don't expect any results when we are doing the work, but in Bhakti we offer the results to Lord Krishna.
Wonderful answer. That is correct. So when nishkama karma yoga is that you are not doing the work to enjoy the fruits. Bhakti is when you offer these fruits to the Lord as a service. That is called bhakti. Wonderful. So then Arjuna asks that who is that person who is able to remain in that kind of a state of mind? Who is that person? Sthita pragya. He talks about that. Who's that? The pragya ka bhasha. He asks him, how does he behave? Then Krishna answers him that prajahati yada kamans sarvan parth manogatan atmanyevatmana tushta sthita pragya stadochyate. 2.55 explains him that someone who has given up all his what is that word? Fake, superfluous, yeah? I don't know how to pronounce that. Superfluous. Or his identities, except his identity as a soul, he gives up all the identities. That person is called Sthita Pragya. And how to become that Sthita Pragya? How do you become that? How do you come to that consciousness? He explains in 2.59 that Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasam param drishtva nivartate. That when you terminate your senses from the sense objects, when you terminate your senses to enjoy from the sense objects, then you are slowly becoming equipoised. Niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopasya. And that is possible when you receive higher taste. So now we will read from 2.60. This is very important verse. Please repeat after me. We also did 61, 62, 63 last time, I think. But we will touch 60 because this is very important verse. Just wanted to discuss that. Yatato hyapi kaunteya
Yatato api kaunteya
purushasya vipaschitah
purushasya vipashtita
indriyani pramadhini
indriyani pramadhini
haranti prasabham manah.
haranti prasabham manah.
Yatato hyapi kaunteya
Yatato api kaunteya
purushasya vipaschitah
purushasya vipashtita
indriyani pramadhini
indriyani pramadhini
haranti prasabham manah.
haranti prasabham manah.
Yatato yapi kaunteya
Yatato api kaunteya
purushasya vipaschitah
purushasya vipashtita
indriyani pramadhini
indriyani pramadhini
haranti prasabham manah.
haranti prasabham manah.
Someone please read the translation.
The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjun, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them.
So this is a problem. Yes, the senses are very strong. Even if we try to restrict them, we cannot, because they take us away. What do they take away? The senses, they actually take away the mind, our focus, distraction. You know what is distraction? Distraction means mind is not in our control. That is called distraction. And that is the cause of our failures. And that is the cause of our fall as well. I'll explain you how. So how many senses do we have?
5.
5.
5. Let's start with eyes. Okay. So see how eyes can cause trouble. So there are certain insects, certain insects who are attracted by light. So when they see light, they get attracted. So they see the light, they see the fire, they get attracted. And they are so much attracted that their mind tells them to actually go and experience it. So they jump into the fire and die. That's a real thing. So this is senses. Make you fall down. Next, we see ears. Okay, how ears can drag your mind away. You know how they catch deer? You know deer in the forest? How do they catch it? So the person who wants to catch deer, he plays a flute. Deer gets attracted by flute, or gets so attracted that he starts running behind it. And it reaches the point where the flute is sourced, where someone is playing that. And he gets killed. He actually gets carried away. His mind gets carried away. And there is tongue. You know how fishes are caught, right? Yeah.
Food. Yeah, Prabhu, food.
So they put that small little worm into that hook, and that is floating in the water. Fish actually sees that, gets attracted as a food, tastes for the tongue, goes, and even though the fish knows that it might be dangerous, but still they get caught. Why? The senses are dragging them. Yeah. Tongue. Alcoholics, anywhere in the world, there is a very thin line, or thin wire of attraction between the bar and the alcoholic. Anywhere they go in the world, automatically when they see the bar, there is an attraction. They straight away go and try to kill themselves slowly. Slow poison. So this is how your tongue makes you fall down. You know how skin can kill you? Skin attraction. You know how elephants are caught? Elephants are caught by their opposite sex. Female elephant is kept at a distance, and just in front of that female elephant there is a big hole covered with grass, and the elephant sees that female elephant, gets attracted to that female elephant and runs for it to touch her, and before he reaches her, he falls into that big hole and is caught. So we cover all the 5 senses. This is how your
Nose,
senses, knows that deer we spoke about.
a deer hears, right?
Yeah, so there is one more deer who's called Himalayan deer. He has kasturi
Kasturi, yes.
in his nabhi. So that is a source of all our perfumes we get, They kill those deer for the perfume. Very, very powerful perfume from the Himalayan deer. And the Himalayan deer doesn't know that the perfume is in his belly, in its belly. It runs around everywhere in the forest just to find out where is that perfume. Goes on running, 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 gets tired and falls down, unconscious, sometimes dies. Just because it doesn't know where the smell is coming from and gets so intoxicated by that perfume, he runs around to experience it more and more, only to know that unknown to him that that perfume is coming from his belly. So all our senses can drag us out. So what is the way out? What is that can help us curb these senses? So Krishna says in 2.61, he says that what you need to do in order to, so he says, Tani sarvani sanyamya
Sarvani Sanyamya
yukta asita matparaha
Yukta Asita Matpara
vashehi yasya indrani
Vashehi yasya indrani
tasya prajna pratisthita.
Tasya
tasya
prajna
pragya
pratisthita.
Tani sarvani samyamya
Tani sarvani
sarvani samyamya
asati yukta asita matparaha
yukta
yukta asita mat
vashehi yasya indrani
vashehi yasya indrani
tasya prajna pratisthita.
tasya pragya pratisthita.
Can someone recite these words?
One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence.
So what is the way out?
Fixing his consciousness upon me.
How do we fix the consciousness upon Krishna?
By developing higher taste, Prabhu, like by chanting, by having prasadam, satisfying all our senses.
Very nice. Yes. So if we satisfy our senses, we try to satisfy our senses by serving the Lord. Now, when I say serving the Lord, it doesn't mean that there is some work required here. Just your normal things that you do. Like when you want to see something, you want to utilize your eyes in service of the Lord, you just go and see the deities of the Lord. Even if you're watching TV, you can see something which is related to Krishna, something related to God. Even I've seen people who see other things apart from just, bhajans or kirtans or Krishna Katha. They see other things, but they can relate those things to Krishna. They're able to relate those things to Krishna. There are many things like that, Then hearing, you can hear nice kirtans, wonderful kirtan. There's so many available. You can hear Krishna Katha, so much available, even on the streaming media. That we can utilize our ears, nose, smell the flowers offered to Krishna, smell nursing oil. I have experienced this personally. If I have any, like other thoughts other than Krishna, if something is bewildering me, like thinking something nonsense or whimsical, I try to put some nursing oil on myself, chant a little bit and smell nursing oil. Just changes my consciousness. Start thinking positive, start thinking something else. Like put some nice agarbatti for the Lord. It just gives you that feeling. Like nose can do a lot of, uh, you know, important, what you call, transformation in you if directed in the right way. You feel so much nice when you go to the temple. There is so much of nice agarbatti, flowers, and incense. Sort of beautiful smell coming in that your mind is slowly, diverting towards the Lord, restraining from other whimsical activities, isn't it? As soon as we enter the temple, smelling tulasi offered to the Lord, smelling flowers offered to the Lord, smelling incense offered to the Lord, smelling oil offered to the Lord. you know, After shower, try to put tika on yourself. Chandan, gopi chandan. Buy some gopi chandan. Make a tika and put it on your body. See how you feel. You know, you'll feel very nice. Body will be like, you'll feel that there is a beautiful development of consciousness, towards Krishna. So you can use your nose in the service of the Lord. Tongue, it's very easy, right? Just eat Krishna Prasad. Try to eat Krishna Prasad. Offer the food to the Lord before eating. Chant in the name of the Lord. Your tongue is engaged. So if we try to engage, and it is difficult sometimes, to do this all the time, because your senses will drive you away, will try to do something else. But what do you do more will take you further. So there is always a ratio. So initially, when you say, Krishna says that plan your spiritual life, plan your vyavasaya atmika buddhi. Initially, you may have 10% of Krishna consciousness in your life by doing something bits and pieces. Slowly, 20, 30, 40. Once you increase it, over a period of time, you'll realize that 70 to 80% of the times you're thinking about Krishna. And when your senses are engaged, your mind is also engaged in the thoughts of Krishna. So that's how we try to control our senses. On the other hand, Krishna says that if you are not doing this, so where is the choice? The choice comes in your mind. The choice is always there with you. So you will always be given a choice what to smell, what to see, what to hear. So that choice is always given. So if we choose the sense objects, like instead of Krishna, instead of serving Krishna, so there will always be a choice. The senses will not remain at peace. They will always want something. They want engagement. Without engagement, the senses are restless and they will try to create problems for you. If you do not engage your senses, there will be problem. They will think about sense gratification, some whimsical thoughts apart from Krishna. So when that starts, then 62, 63, dhyato vishayam pumsa. So that's what we give the example of the deer, the fish. So the senses will drag you into what? Taking your mind down, taking you into the lower platforms. That's the job of the mind. So you have to be very careful when now 62, 63, we discussed last time what happens that if you think too much about sense objects, anything for that matter, skin, tongue, ear, nose, anything you think about too much, that will sangam tesh, it will increase attachment towards that thing slowly, and then you crave for it. That day I was watching a video. There is something in Delhi. There is a place called the street food of Delhi. They have one name called Afimi Chole Bhature. Afim is opium. It's a drug, right? But it does. That guy is not selling drugs. Why is he propagating his street food as that? It's because once you taste it, you'll have craving to eat it again. And that's what people are experiencing. That's why there is huge crowd. They want to come over and over. To come and over do it again, that means there's craving developed. So this is what the world generally is. That's how the businesses flourish. That's how any business can do better, because they don't want a customer to just come to them once. They want that customer to come to them again and again. That's when the business flourishes, right? So the craving has to be developed. That's the job of this material world. What is our job? Krishna is saying that you have to develop craving for his service instead of this. So there is always this battle going on within us. Whether I should do this or whether I should do that. Whether I should do this. So always you have a choice. Once you start picking up your spiritual activities over material attachments, you will see that the reciprocation of Krishna starts and you have more bhakti in your life. And see what happens with that. If you don't do, Krishna says 62 and 63, that you will fall down. Buddhi nacha pranakshati. So we discussed this last time already. We're not going through that again. Okay? 64. Raga dvesha vimuktestu
Dvesha
Dvesha viyuktestu
vishayanindriyecharan
Vishayan Indriyeshwaram
atmavashyera vidyatma
Atma Vashera Vidyatma
prasadam adhigacchati.
Prasadam Adhigacchati
Raga dvesha vimuktestu
Ragadvesha vimuktestu
vishayanindriyecharan
Vishyainandriyeshcharan
atmavashyera vidyatma atma
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 Vashera
Vashyer
Vidyatma
Vidyatma
prasadam adhigacchati.
Prasadam
Prasadam Adhigacchati
Raga dvesha vimuktestu
Ragadvesha vimuktestu
Adhigacchati
vishayanindriyecharan
Vishayan Indriyeshwaram
Vishyanindriyeshcharan
atma vashyera vidheyatma
Atma
Atma
Vashyer
Vashera
Vidyatma
Vidyatma
prasadam adhigacchati.
Prasadam
Prasadam
Adhigacchati.
Please read this translation.
But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord.
So, you see, this is the reciprocation from the Lord. So, if you slowly develop by holding your senses from or restricting your senses from the sense objects and engaging them more towards Krishna, doing all what we discussed through the senses, what happens? He says regulative principles of freedom. So, how can regulative principles free you? Because they will free you from the sense objects.
Yeah.
The problem is that we think that this sense objects, enjoying these sense objects is life. This is what we have come for. To eat, drink, marry, enjoy. This is what we have come for here. But nobody tells us throughout our life that this will actually entangle you more with the bodily concept of life. Nobody tells us that. Yeah, there is no education on that sort. Nothing. Right from day one, when we start studying, we are told that make money, eat, drink, and be merry. That's what we are told. And give the same kind of experience to others. That's your life. But nobody tells us that if we have that kind of a life and we attach too much to our sense objects, that will entangle us more in the bodily concept of life. That nobody tells us. There is something called a spiritual side of life. We have to think about it, that nobody tells us. That's why Bhagavad Gita becomes very important. So that you can analyze. This is Sankhya Yoga. So when we understand that the regulative principles, no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, and no gambling, these are regulative principles. If we follow this, we are actually freeing ourselves from the attachments and gaining more purity. It is not possible to gain purity by doing these things. And Krishna will tell something more. But here, what he's saying that there is reciprocation from Krishna. Prasad. Prasadam adhigachati. What is prasad? What do you mean by prasad? Prasad is the mercy of the Lord. That is called prasad. So when we talk about na, Prabhu daya karo hamare upar. जब वो दया करते हैं, that is prasad. Okay. That's where the next verse comes. Very important verse, 2.65. Prasade sarva dukkhanam
Prasade sarva dukkhanam
anirasa projayate
Anirasyupajayate
prasanna chetaso hyasu
Tanna chetaso yayeshu
buddhi paryavatishthate.
Buddhi paryavatishthate
Prasade sarva dukkhanam
Prasade sarva dukkhana
anirasya upajayate
Anirasyupajayate
prasanna chetaso hyasu
Prasanna chetasaho yayeshu
buddhi paryavatishthate.
Buddhi paryavatishthate.
So one who is satisfied in Krishna consciousness. So satisfaction, when we receive satisfaction in serving Krishna, engaging our senses. Basically, what is bhakti? Bhakti, what is bhakti meaning? We say bhakti meaning.
Engaging one's senses in Krishna consciousness.
Okay, come on, search this verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is in Veda base itself. Okay, I'll give you, search this verse. Verse number
2.65.
no. Chaitanya Charitamrita. Veda base CC. Search for this verse. Veda base CC. Veda base Chaitanya Charitamrita. CC. Google. Veda base space CC space Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruchyate. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruchyate. And see what verse comes up.
Isn't Bengali?
Correct. But there will be English also there. What does it say?
Oh, I think I went to a different one.
No, that is correct. You are in the right place.
Rishikesha.
Rishikena
Is it
Rishikesha
10 point?
Sevanam. So please read the verse if you have found the verse.
No, Rishi.
19.17 in Bengali.
No. There will be English also.
Rishikena Rishikesh.
So what does it say?
Bhakti or devotional service means engaging.
Not the translation, the
Okay.
verse.
Sarvopadi
Correct.
vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesa sevanam bhaktiruchyate.
Perfect. What is the translation?
Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of all the senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. One is freed from all material designations, and one's senses are purified simply by being employed in the service of the Lord.
So, this is very important to engage our senses in the service of the Lord. That is called bhakti. Question मतलब भक्ति क्या है? भक्ति क्या है? Eating prasad, bhakti. Hearing about the Lord, bhakti. Chanting about the Lord, bhakti. Singing kirtan, bhakti. Smelling nursing oil, bhakti. Smelling flowers offered to the Lord, bhakti. Whenever some ill thought is irritating you, just pick up some of the sense, whichever you like, any sense, and engage that sense in the service of the Lord. Just by smelling the flowers, just by doing this. See how it changes your thoughts, how it purifies your senses, and slowly purifies your mind. What happens with that? You get, so, mercy of the Lord. And what is that mercy? What is that mercy you get? वो प्रसाद क्या मिलता है हमें भगवान से? 66. Let's read that. नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य
नास्ति बुद्धिर्युक्तस्य
न चायुक्तस्य भावना
न च
युक्तस्य
युक्तस्य भावना
न चाभावयतः शान्ति
न च
न चाभावयतः शान्तिर्
चाभावयत शान्तिर् अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्
अशांत
अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्
नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य
नास्ति
नास्ति
बुद्धिर्युक्तस्य
बुद्धिर्युक्तस्य
न चायुक्तस्य भावना
न च
न
युक्तस्य
चायुक्तस्य
भावना
भावना
न चाभावयतः शान्तिर्
न चाभावयतः शान्तिर्
शान्तिर्
अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्
अशान्तस्य
अशान्तस्य कुतः
सुखम्
सुखम्
नास्ति बुद्धिर्युक्तस्य
नास्ति बुद्धिर्युक्तस्य
न चायुक्तस्य भावना
न चायुक्तस्य भावना
न चाभावयतः शान्तिर्
न च
न चाभावयतः शान्तिर्
अशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम्
शान्तस्य कुतः
सुखम्
सुखम्.
So see what he says. One who is not connected with the Supreme can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind. What do you need when you work? Intelligence and focus, right? So you cannot have that if your mind is not, if you're not connected with this. How do you connect with Supreme Lord? How do you connect with Supreme Lord?
by chanting or engaging senses in the service of the Lord.
Correct. By bhakti, which is engaging your senses
In the service
with
of the Lord.
the service of the Lord. That is bhakti. If you engage that, you get prasad, mercy of the Lord. That prasad is transcendental intelligence and steady mind. ये हमको चाहिए, काम करने के लिए यही चाहिए. Correct? This is what you get as a prasad. Now what he says, without which there is no possibility of peace, shanti. And how can there be happiness without peace? So powerful this verse is, no? 2.66. Are we not finding happiness? And where that happiness lies in peace. शांति चाहिए ना हमको अंदर से, है कि नहीं?
Yes.
हाँ जी प्रभु.
यही तो है प्रसाद भगवान का।
100% सही।
ये शांति अगर चाहिए तो उसका ये फॉर्मूला दिया है उन्होंने। 61 से लेके 66 तक ये पूरा फॉर्मूला है शांति का। हाउ टू रिसीव पीस। विल रीड 67 ऑल्सो। इंद्रियाणाम हि चरताम
इंद्रियाणां हि
हि
चरताम्
चरताम्
यन्मो अनुविधीयते
यन्मो
जन्मनो अनुविद्यते
तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञान
तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञाम्
वायुर्नाव अविवाम्भसि।
वायु नावम्
वायु
इवम्भसि
इंद्रियाणाम हि चरताम
इन्द्रियाणां हि चरताम्
यन्मनो अनुविद्यते
यन्मनो अनुविद्यते
तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञाम
तस्य हरति प्रज्ञाम्
वायुर्नावम इवाम्भसि।
वायुर्नावम् इवाम्भसि
इंद्रियाणाम हि चरताम
इन्द्रियाणां हि चरताम्
यन्मनो अनुविधीयते
यन्मनो अनुविधीयते
तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञाम
तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञाम्
वायुर्नावमिवाम्भसि।
वायुर्नावम् इवाम्भसि
Someone read the translation?
Yeah, I can do that.
Sure.
As the strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence.
How beautiful this verse is. No? हमारी बुद्धि, इंटेलिजेंस, इट लाइज ऑन, इट्स वेरी वेरी क्रूशियल, बिकॉज विदाउट बुद्धि यू कैनॉट फंक्शन, एंड दैट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन दीज सेंसेस. कैन यू इमेजिन दिस? तो जब हम अपने इंद्रिय, जो भी हमारा जो टेस्ट है, स्किन की फीलिंग्स है, इलिसिट कुछ करने का मन करता है, ऑल दीज थिंग्स, एक बार ध्यान करो कि ये मैंने अगर किया ना, मेरी बुद्धि रिस्क पे है. अगर मैंने ये गलत कुछ किया ना, my intelligence is at stake. If you think that rationally, you will slowly stop performing that activity. This is how you control your mind. '68. तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो
तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो
निगृहीतानि सर्वशः
निगृहीतानि सर्वशः
इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
इन्द्रियाणि
इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यस्तस्य
प्रज्ञा तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
तस्य
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो
तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो
निगृहीतानि सर्वशः
निगृहीतानि सर्वशः
इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
तस्य
तस्य
प्रज्ञा
प्रज्ञा
प्रतिष्ठिता
प्रतिष्ठिता
तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो
तस्मादस्य
तस्मादस्य
महाबाहो
महाबाहो
निगृहीतानि सर्वशः
निगृहीतानि
निगृहीतानि
सर्वशः
सर्वशः
इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता.
तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता
Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. So when we say we want to perform our duty equipoised with intelligence, what is the force? Purity. And purity can be achieved by restricting your senses. Remember, there is nothing external which will help you to do things better. To do things better in your life, your internal purity matters the most. Remember this. We think that we need to gain these skills, this, that, this, whatnot, all these things, so that we can perform better in this world. No. Most important thing is your purity from inside. If that is achieved, you will win all battles. The problem is not outside. Again and again, the problem is not outside. We see problems outside. So there are two types of people. One who carry a mirror and the other who carry a glass. Okay? People who carry a glass, they always see problems outside. People who carry a mirror, they know that the problem is inside me. I need to fix my purity. Why Srila Prabhupada could do so many things in the Western world without having any kind of help? Because he was pure. That was his main quality. He was pure from inside. He had nothing else except serving Krishna. That's it. To do everything. He was wearing a torn dhoti, very old kurta, sitting in a bench in Hyde Park in US. In a park in the US. And sitting there, one person came and sat next to him. He said, "You're new here?" Because there were very few Indians at that time. 60s, huh? In US, 1960. So he was sitting there. He said, you look, what you call new here. You don't seem to be from this area. He said, "Yes, I'm new here, but I'm going to build 108 temples here in the United States. Krishna temples. Very soon." This is purity coming out from a man. He doesn't even have $1 in his pocket. But that's the way he spoke. Then he did chanting Times Square, near Times Square in the park. Everyone started dancing. And slowly, in less than 10 years, he had more than 100 temples there. Thousands of devotees, many farms, everything, so much. When he came back to India, one person, the Marwadi, he went and asked him, "Prabhupada, how did you do all this?" He said, "I went and chanted Hare Krishna, sitting in the park, and everything happened. Krishna gave me everything." But no, I'm not asking that. So then what are you asking? How did you make that much money? He wanted to ask that. But his answer was still the same. He said, "I just went and chanted Hare Krishna, and Krishna gave me everything." This is purity. Yeah? Gaur Gopal Prabhu explains very nicely.
Yeah.
Is that person, some businessman, how much money will he make throughout his life? A few $1,000,000. Yeah, throughout his life. Uh, a kind of politician. How much money will he make, in his life? A few 100 crores. Yeah. And then he showed his Gerua clothes. It's a person like me who's a Swami, wearing orange clothes. How much will he make? So recently, they had this one very big Swami. They had gone to his place and found out thousands of crores of rupees and kilos of gold from his place. He said, "How much money did you get from there?" "Thousands of crores." So you better choose your career wisely. So there is more money. Why? I'm not giving this example. It's a very crude example he gives. But this is not the case. Why Srila Prabhupada got so much of reciprocation? Because he was pure. So much money after that. He didn't do that for that, but everything is flowed in. He always lived like a sannyasi all the time. Sometimes he didn't have prasad most of the times, all day he will just go and preaching, writing books. So much that movement has seen. So, purity. If steady intelligence. 69. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam
या निशा सर्वभूतानां
tasyam jagarati संयमी
तस्यां जागृति भूतानि
संयमी
संयमी
या निशा सर्वभूतानां
या निशा सर्वभूतानां
तस्यां जागरति संयमी
तस्यां जागरति संयमी
यस्यां जागरति भूतानि
यस्यां
यस्यां
जागरति
जाति
भूतानि
भूतानि
सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः.
सा निशा पश्यतो मुने.
So there are two different words, jagarati and jagrati. So there are two different words if you read them carefully. They are not the same words. Jagarati and jagrati. So what does jagarati mean? Jagarati means is wakeful. Jagrati means are awake. Yeah, two different words. That's the beauty of Sanskrit. What you read is what it means, and what it reads is what it sounds. That's how Sanskrit is. Jagrati is not Jagarti. Jagarti is different. Jagrati is different. English में सब चल रहा है. KNO, no BW, NOBW, सब W. Uncle, tata, papa, सब uncle. Uncle, tata, taya, सब uncle. Mama. But Sanskrit is not like that. Sanskrit, every word has a different pronunciation. Yeah, that's why it is very close to artificial intelligence. You know that, right? So when they talk about technology, most closest language in scientific terms, closest to the machines a robot can understand is Sanskrit, because it sounds what is written. What you write, it sounds. English is not like that. English में robot को बोलोगे no, तो वो KNOW बोलोगे तो वो भी NO ही समझेगा. You cannot understand. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is very powerful language. So you should read this. और वो देवनागरी में पढ़ने की कोशिश किया करो. It will touch your brain cells which are not open because of English. Okay. That is one of the reasons if you see South Indian languages, they have more Sanskrit words also. इसके लिए मोस्टली टेक्नोलॉजी में देखोगे ना साउथ इंडियन बहुत है. इसका रीजन है ये. It opens those brain cells of your brain. कैसे खुलता है? कोई अंदर जाके नहीं खुलता है उसको, वो लैंग्वेज साउंड से खुलता है वो. तो रीड संस्कृत, भगवत गीता पढ़ोगे इंटेलिजेंट बन जाओ. Okay, so it is very important to read Bhagavad Gita. And there is spiritual benefit which is amazing. See what kind of information we get. ये कोई सिखाता है हमें? कोई नहीं बताता हमें. Yeah, what we learn from our ancestors or forefathers and fathers, everyone, कैसा, what to do, school जाने का, job करने का, पैसा कमाने का. That's all we learn. Nobody taught us that what is our real thing. Why have we come to this world? What is the purpose of this? And we should understand the spiritual knowledge. That's why Bhagavad Gita reading becomes so important. It should be a part of your daily routine. At least read one verse of Bhagavad Gita every day. Sanskrit पढ़ना चाहिए हमें. So we are the ones who can keep this alive. We have to, and it will be, and there is a race against many countries at the moment trying to learn Sanskrit. Germany, Japan, they're after it because they know what this is. They understand that this can go very close to technology, very close to technology. Not far away when you will see Sanskrit in machines. Trust me. So if you know Sanskrit, you will be in demand. If you know Bhagavad Gita, then you get reciprocation from Krishna. So double impact. Yeah. Okay, what's the time now?
Prabhu, it's 4:08, and I also have to
Okay.
leave in 2
Yeah.
minutes.
So we have 3 more verses to finish this chapter now, which we will do next time. So 70, 69, 70, 71, 72. And that will end our chapter 2. I would request you all to please read up till these verses and meditate on them. If you read these verses, the last few verses which you have studied from 40 onwards till the end of chapter 2, it will change your life.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay?
Yes,
Thank you
Prabhu.
all.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, all.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Anil Prabhu. Hare Krishna.